Today I'm exposing a corrupt Democrat-appointed North Carolina magistrate, Teresa Stokes, who recklessly freed a 14-time violent felon now responsible for murdering a refugee woman. And this woman is profiting from her courtroom decisions. This isn't just soft on crime, it is a blatant betrayal of justice, putting killers back on the streets while cashing in on the chaos. Then next, border czar Tom Homan tears into MSNBC, exposing their open border lies in a heated exchange. It's a good one. And finally, Donald Trump's accuser, Carroll, remember her? She delivers a confession that destroys her credibility and vindicates our president. It's good. I've got it for you at the end of the show. All these headlines and so much more right here today on The Kerri Lane Show. As always, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Now brace yourself, because this is the horrifying story that mainstream media is desperately bearing. A gut-wrenching betrayal that should ignite fury in every red-blooded American who values law and order and the safety of our families. Now, I did some digging, and I uncovered the shocking truth about Magistrate Judge Teresa Stokes, the radical Democrat-appointed judge and strong supporter of Kamala Harris, no surprise there, who recklessly unleashed career criminal DeCarlos Brown Jr. She let him go back onto our streets, where he savagely stabbed to death innocent Ukrainian refugee Irina Zarutska. She was a 23-year-old woman who fled Putin's war only to be slaughtered in America as a result of Democrat policies. This wasn't a mistake. It was a decision the judge made that she personally benefited from. Now, before we expose her corruption, let's take a look at Brown's chilling history. Arrested at least 14 times for everything from threats and felony larceny to armed robbery and assaulting women. Yet judges like her kept letting him walk. Here's the rap sheet that screams danger, and the system ignored it all.
According to the Charlotte Observer, his earliest infractions like speeding, threats, and injury to property were dismissed. But in 2014, DeCarlos Brown Jr. pleaded guilty to 2 counts of felony larceny, breaking and entering. He got probation for that. But then 4 months later, in 2015, he pleaded guilty to robbery with a dangerous weapon while out on probation. So he was sent to prison for that, but he was released early after serving 5 years. In 2022, Brown was arrested for assaulting a woman and injury to property. Then twice in 2024 and earlier this year, he was arrested for misusing 911. The last time, a judge released him the very same day.
Federal charges have just been brought against Brown, adding to his disturbing resume of heinous crimes. Here's the latest on that, as well as an emotional moment from the U.S. Attorney for the Western District of North Carolina, who had just gotten off the phone with Irina's mom and uncle. Take a listen.
Had a very touching call with them. Our hearts go out to Irina's family. They are suffering like any of us would be. It was a very touching call. Our hearts go out to them. Now, DeCarlos Brown Jr., who we allege stabbed Irina Zarutska, is in state custody on first-degree murder charges. But I'm here today to announce that we're going to supplement those state charges with federal charges. These federal charges will go alongside the murder case in state court. And we hope that they will ensure justice for Irina, for her family, and for the whole Charlotte community. The maximum penalty for this federal crime is life in prison without parole or the death penalty. Of course, each individual case receives its own sentencing hearing by a federal judge that will decide the sentence based on the individual factors in this case.
Hopefully this violent criminal will not be able to ever walk the streets again and hurt anyone else. Even his own mother warned that he had schizophrenia, that he was dangerous, and that he should never be released back into the community. She's the one who kicked him out of her house for being too aggressive, which is when he became homeless. And yet in January, after a bizarre 911 episode where he claimed a man-made material was controlling his ability to walk, talk, and eat, Magistrate Judge Teresa Stokes released him without bond, despite his extensive and violent criminal history. She accepted just a handwritten promise that he would appear at court in a later date. That decision, it freed Brown to later stab and kill Irina Zarutska. Now, Stokes also requested the mental capacity evaluation, which I did a deeper dive on and found a massive conflict of interest. See, Stokes is a magistrate judge in Mecklenburg County, not even admitted to the North Carolina bar. She is married to Ayanna Ballard. The two are not just spouses, they're business partners. Back in Michigan, they ran a halfway house fried chicken joint. And then both of them served as directors of Pinnacle Recovery Group. It's a nonprofit that is focused on addiction and recovery. Now fast forward to North Carolina. Teresa Stokes is the magistrate. Her wife, Ayanna Ballard, is a healthcare provider at a Charlotte mental health and addiction clinic that conducts court-ordered evaluations. Think about that. One wife sits on the bench deciding who goes free. The other runs programs that profit from court-mandated participation for those very defendants. This is a textbook conflict of interest. Pinnacle Recovery Group and affiliated clinics, they stand to benefit whenever criminals and addicts are pushed back into the streets instead of being put behind bars. This isn't random. It's systemic, and it may have directly contributed to the death of Irina Zarutska. Now, Congressman Tim Moore, he's demanding Stokes' removal, calling this tragedy preventable. And he's exactly right. The public deserves accountability because if judges are compromised, communities are no longer safe. The White House reacting this morning and laying into the media for their lack of interest in this very story.
The majority of the media, many outlets in this room, decided that her murder was not worth reporting on originally because it does not fit a preferred narrative. Many of the journalists in this room spilled plenty of ink trying to smear Daniel Penny for defending a subway car from a deranged lunatic in New York City, but none of those same reporters lift a finger to write stories about an actual murderer.
The media had no problem destroying Daniel Penny's life by running their false narrative 24/7, all because it involved a white man restraining a black man. But when a black man kills a white woman, we get crickets. Not a single outlet rushed to cover it. Not a single editorial demanded justice. It's the same double standard over and over. Well, guess what? The public deserves the truth, not selective outrage. And yet, while judges like Teresa Stokes let violent criminals walk free, Jasmin Crockett is openly defending crime. Watch this.
My elected prosecutor in Dallas County, he kind of caught some flack because he probably shouldn't have said it out loud. But he specifically said, if I get people that are getting charged with a low-level misdemeanor for going and stealing food, diapers, like basic necessities, because they literally can't afford it. He's like,
out of desperation.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not locking you up, right? Like, and granted, like, there is no good point in doing it because a decent defense attorney would have a defense, right? That there's a defense that we have on the book. So we, go and try the case, right? But like most people didn't understand. They're like, oh, he's telling everybody to go steal. And I'm like, that's not what he was doing. But like, okay. And so I want people to understand that there are crimes that are committed not because people are criminals, but because they literally are trying to survive.
Unbelievable. Here's Jasmin Crockett, the so-called civil rights lawyer turned congresswoman, defending shoplifters and thieves as if they're the victims of circumstance rather than choices. This is the same radical Democrat who's mocked a disabled governor in a wheelchair, calling Greg Abbott Governor Hot Wheels. Crockett, she's also pocketed hundreds of thousands from shady PACs and foreign junkets while lecturing America about justice. She's smeared Republicans as inherently violent, stoking division at every turn, and now she's telling Americans that stealing is no big deal. This is why businesses are shutting down, why shelves are locked up, and why families can't feel safe even at the grocery store. And just when you think she can't get more reckless, she goes after the police.
I want to be clear that, law enforcement isn't to prevent crime. Law enforcement solves crime, okay? That is what they're supposed to do.
Straight from the mouth of this out-of-touch extremist. Cops aren't for prevention, just cleanup. I mean, Crockett's worldview is a gift to criminals. Defund the police, ignore deterrence, and let chaos explode while she virtue signals from her safe perch. And you know who props up these radical Democrats? The corrupt corporate media. Don Lemon thinks he's America's moral compass, but watch what happens when he gets a real dose of truth on the streets. Take a look.
How you doing, sir? Good. Can we talk to you? Where are you from? You live in New York?
Who are you?
Don Lemon.
You're a moron, dude.
Thank you. So are you.
Yeah, that's very nice of you to
yeah,
say.
nice to see you.
Except you've never heard anything I've had to say, and I've heard a whole bunch of what you've
I'm glad
had to
you
say.
watched me.
No, I don't.
Why?
But you just get clipped everywhere.
I know, but why don't you? You said you don't watch me, but yet you know who I am, and I get clipped.
Before I realized that CNN and MSNBC were full of shit, every once in a while I'd see
What do you watch?
talking. I watch all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, but why do you say CNN and MSNBC are full of?
Because they lie.
But about what? Be
Everything.
specific. What's everything?
Everything.
That says it all. No spin, no polished pundits, just an American staring Don Lemon in the eye and calling out the lies. And that's why CNN's credibility is collapsing right alongside their ratings. But CNN, Oh, they're not alone in the gutter. Their partner in propaganda, MSNBC, is just as shameless, even trying to smear ICE as if they're some secret police force disappearing people. Watch Tom Homan take this lie apart.
I've done this show several times. Every time on this show, I speak with integrity, I speak with honesty, and I speak with facts. The bottom line is, because of all this false narrative, and you using the term disappearing people,
well,
is
that's
disgusting.
What's happened. That happened to the group that was sent to El Salvador.
U.S. citizens get arrested every day. U.S. citizens get arrested by police every day. Are they being disappeared? No, their laws are being enforced. They're being arrested. They're being put in detention because they committed a criminal offense.
Not like what you're doing.
Not even close. We're enforcing the law and arresting people here in violation of law that are public safety threats. That's not disappearing people. That's enforcing the laws of this country and making this country safer.
That's the difference between truth and narrative. I don't know how we got to a place where simply enforcing our laws is treated like a crime, but here we are. MSNBC, they push fear-mongering and lies. They pretend that keeping our communities safe is somehow sinister. I mean, these networks clearly want chaos, confusion, and outrage, all to score political points, while real Americans, we know, are paying the price for their lies. Now, speaking of lies, nobody rewrites reality better than Stacey Abrams, the Democrat who apparently believes you can lose an election and still claim victory. Yeah, according to Abrams, losing is the new winning.
In 2018, when I lost my election, I was never confused about it. I had conversations with communities and I would say we won. And that just would send people into these paroxysms of hatred. What I was telling them is, look, not getting the title did not mean that we didn't make progress. When you are trying to defend democracy, when you're trying to serve the people, progress counts as victory because their goal is your silence. Their goal is your complicity. Their goal is your subjugation. Every day we remain free, that is progress. But if we have to wait for this large announcement like elections to say that this is when we win, we're going to keep losing.
She literally just invented a new definition for winning. And to say she was never confused about losing the election in 2018 is just another drastic lie. Roll the tape.
But I didn't lose. I got the votes. But we won't know exactly how many because of how they cheated. I did win my election. I just didn't get to have the job. We were robbed of an election.
Using the word rigged, using the word steal. Do you think it's dangerous going into 2020?
I don't, because we can actually back it up. And so in response to what I believe was a stolen election, and I'm not saying they stole it from me, they stole it from the voters of Georgia. Facts went outside, asked if I'm ever going to concede. The answer is no.
At the end of the day, you can call losing progress all you want, but facts don't lie. Elections have consequences, lawlessness has cost, and redefining reality, that won't change either. Now to the story I told you about at the start of the show. It is time to lock your doors and hold on tight because the leftist lunacy, it is spreading like a virus. Wait until you hear the most chilling confession yet from E. Jean Carroll. She's the unhinged accuser of President Trump who turned a courtroom into her personal freak show. So picture this, a woman so obsessed, so detached from reality that no sane man would get within 10 feet of her. She's not just eccentric, she's flat out deranged, cackling about yanking Trump's hair, mocking his every breath like some crazy groupie on the attack. And that's before her mind-blowing confession about her case even comes out. But first, straight from her own mouth on MSNBC, here's Carroll bragging about being the courtroom creeper inches from our president. Roll the tape, and you're gonna feel that chill run right up your spine.
Would you like to hear what it's like sitting right in front of Donald Trump? We were so close in the courtroom. If I leaned back and reached my hand, I could have grabbed him by the hair. So I could hear everything he was saying. I could hear the snorts and the whines and the bitching and the bawling and the spitting and the hissing and his arms going like this on the desk. And I thought to myself, oh my God, what if the jury is hearing this? And I turned and looked at the jury and they're like petrified with delight. I mean, so what? I'm not going to write about that?
Oh my, that is not a victim, that's a stalker. This is derangement on parade. And the jury petrified with delight? What kind of twisted mind turns a trial into sadistic entertainment? No rational man, hell, no sane person would get within striking distance of this woman. She is unhinged, obsessive, and downright dangerous, peddling her delusion for profit while hiding behind trauma. And yet this unstable obsession was presented as credible testimony? Oh, and it doesn't stop there. Carroll has accused Trump, CBS's Les Moonves, and a slew of other men with zero police reports because why bother with facts when you can weaponize fairy tales? She rakes in millions from a friendly Manhattan court, and now we know she had billionaire backup. LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman, a top Democrat megadonor, admitted his nonprofit helped bankroll her legal fight. And who was cheering her on from the sidelines? George Conway, the anti-Trump lawyer who helped steer her into this case. Do you see what I see? These are the men she said took advantage of her. And these are the men who bankrolled her lawsuit. I'll leave it at that and let you make your own judgment. Now, while you process all of that, here's more proof of her lunacy. Her confession to a full-on courtroom con job. Watch this.
You're like, well, I got to be hotter to win this case.
Yeah, I got to be is the word. So what we did is we looked, I had a talk show, a TV talk show in 1996. I went through that, some of the shows, took screenshots of my hair cut in a bob, and we did then I found the hairdresser and the makeup person who made me look like that in 1996. She came every day to trial, did my hair and makeup exactly like it was in 1996. I wore the exact same clothes I wore in 1996.
She's admitting to a deranged dress-up game by hiring a glam squad to rewind her all the way back to 1996 like some time-traveling psycho. No man with common sense would glance her way without running for the hills. I mean, she is a walking red flag, fabricating fantasies to destroy giants like Trump. And then came the moment where she straight up admits it was all a trick to deceive the jury.
I didn't look like I looked in 96, but I looked like somebody who could have looked like somebody in 96. And it was enough. It was enough. So it was a trick.
The evidence is piling up like her pile of lies. I mean, Trump called it a hoax and Carroll just confirmed it. No cops, no evidence, just lies, theatrics, billionaire bankrolls, and tricks on the jury. This is why we fight. SCOTUS needs to do what's right and no longer tolerate this lunatic's lawfare. Okay, up next, a Biden official breaks silence on Biden's controversial pardons. What they reveal is shocking and heartbreakingly personal. Then Rosie O'Donnell, she could be facing a defamation lawsuit after unleashing one of the most outrageous attacks ever on President Trump. Go ahead, click on that video you see now on your screen, and I'll see you over there. Thanks for watching, and have a great rest of your day.